Good morning, Red State. This is Mo Lane, and I'm talking today with Colonel Martha McSally, who is running for the 2nd Congressional District in Arizona. Thanks for talking with us today.
Thanks for having me on.
So if we could get started, if you could describe yourself very quickly and why you're running.
Yeah, sure. I'm a retired Air Force colonel. I was a fighter pilot in the Air Force, served for 26 years, graduated as a distinguished graduate from the Air Force Academy. I've got 2 master's degrees, one from Harvard in public policy, and one from Air War College in Strategic Studies. I worked for Senator Kyle as a legislative fellow when I was a major for a year, in 1999-2000. And I'm most known nationally because I took on the Pentagon for making our servicewomen wear Muslim garb in Saudi Arabia about a decade ago. It's a very long story, but after trying to get this policy changed for over 6 years, they actually ordered me to Saudi. Then they threatened to court-martial me if I didn't put the burqa on and sit in the backseat of the car. And, went up and down the chain of command to 2 secretaries of defense trying to get this thing changed. But then I actually filed litigation, Martha McSally versus Donald Rumsfeld. And as we're working our way through the courts, I realized, hey, I was a legislative fellow, so got some legislation written up, got some sponsors. And 10 days later, it was voted on unanimously as a freestanding bill on the floor of the House, and voted on later as an amendment to the defense bill in the Senate, and passed into law December 2nd, 2002, which is almost 8 years after I started fighting this fight. After I retired, I served as a professor of national security studies at a place called the George C. Marshall Center. I was teaching and training government officials from all over the world that are transitioning to democracy and free markets. I was the first woman in U.S. history to fly in combat in a fighter aircraft and the first to command a squadron also in combat. I flew the mighty A-10 Warthog, which is the world's best single-seat close air support airplane. So, I've served my country for 26 years, and I'm running because I'm very concerned about where we are and where we're going. And I think Washington, D.C. is just lacking people who are willing to lead, stand up for what's right, regardless of the personal cost, moral courage. People are willing to figure out how to solve our problems, get the economy going again, and actually govern. And I feel very frustrated, and, I'm an athlete, not a spectator, so I decided it's time to step up and do something about it. When I see things are broken, I fix them.
Now, as to the district itself, the 2nd Congressional District in Arizona, what's it like, and what are you hearing from people on the campaign trail? What are they concerned about? Well,
this is the old Gabby Gifford seat. And my opponent, Mr. Ron Barber, was Gabby Gifford's aide, who was, asked by her to serve as a caretaker and a placeholder to serve out her term after the horrible tragedy we went through as a community. And he's done that. He said he wasn't going to run again, and then he went to Washington and he changed his mind, and so now he's running again. The district is 35.5% Republican, 33.5% Democrat, and 31% Independent. And like any other district in the country, people are concerned about the economy. They're looking for good jobs. You got kids graduating from college, moving back in with their parents. You got people that are unemployed and underemployed. You got seniors who are, barely making ends meet because their lifelong savings are not, stretching because of the low interest rates. So, number one issue across the board is the economy. And Congress is, helping create uncertainty in the economy by continuing to kick the can on all these economic issues, whether it's what's the tax structure going to look like, what's the regulatory structure going to look like, going home to take care of the next election instead of worrying about the next generation. So people are frustrated, and they want some certainty in the economic situation. They want somebody who's going to help lead that effort. Uniquely to this district is the border. I mean, we're right on the border. The most illegal activity in the country comes through this sector. We got drug cartels that are, trafficking not just drugs, but slaves and, money and weapons in the other direction. We've got the Fast and Furious debacle that killed a Border Patrol agent here. And so this is a real national security threat and a public safety threat. So that's unique to the district. Affordable and available health care, the education system, all sorts of things are on the minds of the voters. But those are really the top ones.
Now, regarding your campaign themes, what would you say? How would you sum up your campaign theme in a word or a sentence?
Well, it's a clear contrast between a leader or a follower. Ron Barber is a lifelong bureaucrat, and sadly, he's turned politician overnight. He's willing to lie and distort and run a sexist campaign against me and do anything to save his job. They have the choice between him or a leader, someone who's got 26 years of experience of leading, solving problems, getting results, standing up for what's right, standing up against the establishment if required. So that, the choice is very clear between a leader or a follower. Our background, our credentials are very different. Our messages, by the way, are very different. He's got a voting record now. That's why all the, those people who are interested in the economy are endorsing me, whether that's NFIB, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the builders and contractors, the home builders, anybody who cares about small businesses, jobs, getting the federal government off their backs is coming my way. He's voted 89% of the time with Nancy Pelosi, and that's just not what people are looking for, and they're trying to get their businesses going. So we're very different there. And unfortunately, in the last few weeks, he has shown we're very different when it comes to character. The way he's run his campaign has just been despicable. It just one lie and distortion after another, trying to scare voters, which is basically out of the national playbook for his party. The problem is he's trying to stereotype me into a cookie-cutter Republican candidate and use his national playbook, but it just doesn't stick. I mean, I've been fighting stereotypes my whole life, and there's nothing stereotypical about me. He's started off with saying Republican Party is a bunch of white men with big money, as I'm sitting right next to him. He's the white guy, and I'm the middle-class woman. That's not working. Then his party bosses are putting out blatantly false, sexist-themed attacks against me, and one of the local channels wouldn't even show it. It was so wrong. And last night I confronted him in the debate, and he still failed to apologize for it on their behalf. They've continued with this theme of let's scare seniors and now let's scare women. Let's just do what we can because my job's in jeopardy. And that's a character issue. I mean, either he's leading that effort, which should concern everybody, how quickly he's become a politician, or he's letting other people lead it and he's tolerating it, which is an intestinal fortitude issue. That's not what's good for people of Southern Arizona right now. They want someone who's going to lead and have character and have guts, and he's shown the lack of all of those in the last few weeks.
Okay, two more questions for you, and I'll let you get back to campaign. The first is your main website is marthamcsally.com.
Yep.
What can activists do right now to help outside of your district and outside of the state?
Yeah, we are neck and neck right now. We were tied at 47.5% in our latest poll. Nancy Pelosi's PAC then came in and started to defend him. And he's out raising me in money. We're doing pretty good in our fundraising. I mean, I was in the race starting the middle of June after our special election, and I've raised $800,000 so far. But I've got to raise $10,000 a day to continue our ads and our messaging to get us across the finish line. He's doing everything he can to try and scare people to pull votes away from me, but the momentum is in our court. So we need people talking up the race. They need to realize this is an opportunity for a pickup, that we've got the right candidate at the right time to pick this seat up. And I need their help to get the word out that this is a pickup seat. The NRCC is totally behind me. I mean, they've put a bunch of money into TV and everything. There's other entities that are now realizing this is a pickup, and they're jumping in. I just saw an ad this morning from one I'd never heard of before. So we need their help to get the word out, and we need people to contribute. I've got to raise $10,000 a day, and it's all about this to get us across the finish line and win this race. So anything they can do to help, I would be really grateful.
And last question: you win the election in November. You go to Congress in January. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is vote for a bill that's going to restore the $716 billion that my opponent robbed from Medicare and our seniors. Look, my mom relies on that for her health care. My neighbors and my friends. I mean, this is serious business. And he's got a voting record now. So we got to put that money back in, and we got to move this country forward by addressing these issues that are impacting our economic uncertainty, that are impacting our future. Look, I'm a woman, so I can multitask, right? So it's not just one thing we need to do. We got to get to work on a lot of different issues, and I'm ready to hit the ground running. I got a lot of energy, and my service in the military certainly prepares me to work long hours with little sleep. And so I'm ready to do that, to fight for the things that matter for our country and for my community.
Okay. Again, we've been talking with – actually, I'm sorry. I tell a lie. I have one last question, which isn't even political. Mm-hmm. What's it like to fly a Warthog?
It's an awesome airplane. It's only single seat, and your first flight is solo. So you're the pilot, co-pilot, the bombardier, the gunner, the navigator, everything, and it's pretty incredible. Shooting that 30-millimeter gun, it's just extraordinary. I mean, the airplane was built around the gun, and there's nothing like on a combat sortie in Afghanistan. You show up, you're talking to Americans on the ground, lives are at stake, they're under fire, and we show up to work with them and deliver firepower so that they can get home to live to fight another day and get back to their families. And there's nothing quite like it.
Okay, again, we've been talking with Martha McSally, who is running in the 2nd Congressional District in Arizona. I want to take the time to talk with us today.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mo. I really appreciate it.